Good evening. My name's Tom Stoukas, coming to you from Sarnia, Ontario on March 28th. We're almost to April Fool's Day, or April 2nd, Liberation Day. I don't even know what the hell that is. I'm going to look that up. So, the year's just flying right by. It's been a weird year, but not just a lot of weird talk, but not a lot of crazy stuff yet. So that's good, I guess. So, the big news today was the big phone call between Donald Trump and Mark Carney, and it was actually Trump's actually talking like somewhat respectful of the country, which was a remarkable change of tone. He didn't call him Governor Carney. He didn't call us the 51st state. And he said it was like they agreed to negotiate whatever. So yeah, quite the shock. It's playing yo-yo with my head because one minute we're ready to go to war, or next thing you know they're having this nice conversation. It makes no sense really. Like, I don't even know how this all started, to be honest. Like, I mean, I know there's been issues, but it's crazy when they play politics with the tariffs and mix it with the little patriotism, and how ugly things can get really quick. So it's nice that they can maybe talk normal. Because, like Doug Ford, I think the other day, and we'll find the video on this, said something he wants to inflict pain on the American people, which is a dumb thing to say because it's not very nice. And your power to inflict that pain it's pretty limited. So both reasons you shouldn't say it. He's not that smart though. I'm going to start reading this book I saw at the Valley Village, Crazy Town, on Doug Ford and Rob Ford. Mostly about Rob Ford, who's the mayor of Toronto. But, Doug's riding the coattails. And so I'm going to read that book. I like Rob Ford. That's why I didn't read the book earlier, because I thought they should just leave him alone, poor guy. But now I want to find out about his brother, who's the Premier of Ontario, and he's in the news too, with Pierre Poilievre, his relationship there. So it's just a whole tangled web between Donald Trump and all our politicians. I don't even know what's going on. I'm very confused about what's going on. But the one thing I'm not confused, which I'm pretty sure, is that there's a lot more to this than we are aware of. Like, the more details, there's a bigger thing going on that we're not aware of, I think. Because when stuff doesn't make sense all the time, there means there's other stuff that's left out that would make sense then. I don't know what it is. Something's up. And then Trump's talking like April 2nd's Liberation Day. I know he's talking about the tariffs, like worldwide tariffs he's going to impose. But that's weird, like Liberation Day. What's that all about? So, it's crazy stuff. Liberation Day. So, the question with the Carney Trump phone call is, does it help Carney become prime minister? We're going to talk about Pierre too. His campaign's sputtering a little, let's just say. But let's talk about Carney. Does this help Carney? That's the fact that Trump didn't call him governor and didn't refer to us as the 51st state is going to help Carney. Whether you like the guy or not, I don't like him. I don't like the Liberal Party at all. But the fact that he didn't call him governor or 51st state is going to help him right there. And it's just, it looks like they're equals, kind of, because he didn't like the way he treated Trudeau was so like never before seen between the Canadian Prime Minister. They had their disagreements in private in the past, but not in public like that. So he's seen as an equal almost. So yeah, I mean that can't hurt him, I don't think. And Trump doesn't like Pierre. He's already said he doesn't like him. So Canadian voters are going to look at say, hey, would you rather vote for to deal with Trump? The guy that Trump's talking to and not calling a governor, or the guy who says he doesn't like? Like, and he very well will change his opinion on Pierre, but it'll be people might say, okay, Pierre's going to be in a weaker position. So yeah, it's so weird. Why would Trump help Carney though? I'm confused. Maybe he's trying to hurt Carney. I don't know what he's doing. I'm going to just keep looking at everybody else's theories on the internet because I don't know. My opinion, I'll tell you what I think, and I'm probably wrong, is that Trump, he'd rather deal with the liberals because at least they admit they're liberals, where the conservatives are fake, and he can't stand those. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense. But regardless, the question is, does it help Carney? Because I can't answer the other questions like, why is Trump doing what Trump is doing? I can't answer that. But does this help Carney? I don't think it hurts him. It probably helps him. You know, still a lot of campaigning to do. But it seems like even Trump's in on this fix almost. Like, Carney comes out, he's put in, the media loves him, he can't do no wrong, he's got this sparkling resume. Now Trump's helping him get in. Whether I don't know, like it doesn't make sense, like, or unless it's like a big fix, which is weird. I don't know. I'm gonna just keep watching. And then, okay, there's the Trump Carney dynamic, the era of Trump Carney now. Ugh. It's definitely different from the Trudeau Trump. Like Trump says, no way, this guy's persona non grata. I don't want to deal with him. And he basically hastened his exit. Like he was going to go anyway, I think. But speaking, we don't have to listen to him at least. I feel better lately. I haven't listened to that guy's voice for over a week now, I think. Or about a week. All right. So, the next thing is, why is poor Pierre's, they're all panicking in the Conservative Party. Because for some reason they had their all, they had their whole target on Trudeau the whole time, and then now the rug's pulled from under them. But that doesn't make sense. Like, we've talked about this before. Anybody would have known Trudeau was so unpopular, he's never going to see another election. Like, if you're a political science person, it's not hard to figure it out. So, whoever's running the Conservative campaign, they're probably in panic mode, it looks like, because there's a lot of grumbling in the Conservative Party. The Ontario Conservative Party basically hates them. The teams hate each other, and I don't know. I don't know the personal, but they're not working together, and they're actively sabotaging the Ontario Conservatives are actively sabotaging the Conservative Party. Maybe not Ontario Conservatives, but the people running the Ontario Conservative Party. Key distinction there. So and without Ontario, you can't win. Okay. Doug Ford has just got his majority. He's basically a globalist liberal. He's governed hand in hand with Trudeau for years now. And he's continuing the same with Mark Carney and Freeland. Business as usual. And he's basically has nothing to do with Pierre Poilievre, which is weird. I mean, Canada provincial and federals aren't as tight as maybe in the States. I don't know. Not it's it's not usually their best buds, but this is a very frosty relationship. And Ford seems to have thrown his lot in with Carney, just like he did with Trudeau. He doesn't like Poilievre, and that's another mark against because Conservatives need Ontario. Without the Ontario machine that Ford commands, a lot more hard, a lot more difficult to get Ontario. And without Ontario, you don't win. And I see Pierre's campaigning a lot in the West, which is weird. He'll be going back to Ontario, but Ontario's it's weird because how Ford. It's weird. Ford doesn't want to help him, so he wants a liberal government, federal government, basically, which is what I've been saying all along. So lots of weird stuff happening in Canadian politics. So I think the one thing can be positive of is that there's a lot more going on than we're being told. I'm talking like international and between Canada and the U.S. and all sorts of like with the China thing, interference in our government, all that. There's probably so much we don't know, and maybe it'll come out, maybe it won't. I don't know. So all we can do is keep watching and chill out. Just keep abreast of the events. But the election's far from over. Like Pierre could. The thing I love about elections is it's like a playoff hockey. Anything could happen. So I'm not affiliated with any party, so I'm just an observer. I like PPC, but I know it's nobody. They're the fringe party right now. I know. I like their platform the best. But it should be an interesting election result here in Canada. And that's it. And I guess we're going to look at a local story today too in Sarnia. So our mayor, Mike Bradley, who was like a real COVID tyrant in Sarnia, he's very divisive, kind of a dick with his COVID. Like he really took the COVID thing and ran with it. And he's been mayor for like 30 years, who knows. And just horrible person. Shouldn't be mayor that long, and he wants to do this motion to take down U.S. flags and city property. And, we're a border city, so there tends to be more U.S. flags. And I'm like, fuck this guy, like I don't want him as mayor. Why would I want him to, antagonize the people that live right across the river from us? So another councillor, Bill Dennis, who's like a real kind of a Trump supporter, which seems like an alright guy, and he organized like a flag waving between the two sides on Saturdays, and then the Monday's the vote for the flag to take down the American flags at Sarnia Council. It's a shameful, very stupid, petty, really. Like the city's got so many problems to deal with, and this is like so disgusting. So we'll look at that quick. Yeah. I bet they'll pass it too, the dummies. We got a very woke council here in Sarnia. Oh, sorry, I need to drink something. President Trump says he thinks things are going to work out very well between Canada and the U.S. I'm just reading the headlines. Carney says Canada and the U.S. will negotiate new economic and security relationship after the election. Yeah, they must. That's crazy. Wasn't expecting that because yesterday Carney was saying we're like, we're over, we're done with these people, and now next thing you know we're gonna start talking again like normal people. So obviously that's a better thing, but I can't believe we got to that point in the first place. Obviously Trump kind of trolled us, and instead of like treating it like locker room talk, like how people break balls, like on the Sopranos. These guys leading Canada got their panties up in a bunch and made it a big thing, and they used it to their advantage to hide their failure, just blame it all on Trump, and people bought it. It's crazy. Crazy stuff. But you need to dial it down. I don't. There's too many people on the street that take this stuff to heart and then they do crazy stuff. That's the problem. I don't like that at all. All right. I guess we'll go to the day. Like, it's hard to say how you feel because one day you're feeling like we're going to get invaded for being insolent. The next, we're all being told how great things went. That's weird, man. It's like they're messing with us. But I don't let it bother me. I just enjoying the weather. All right. I'm going to look. Lots to cover today. Lots to cover. Lots. All right. Lots to cover. It's crazy. We'll see that if Pierre can pull it off, can get his mojo back. Okay, first post. Oh, violent offender. This new. I don't know if I've been following this Canadian Crime Watch. Anyway, it's probably just meant to stoke anti whatever, but violent offender who has hurt and killed people, including strangers, is released. Northern for author. Edmonton. Edmonton police issued a warning Monday afternoon after the release of a convicted violent offender into the city. The Edmonton Police Service said in a media release it has reasonable grounds to believe Nouruddin Farah will commit another violent offense. That makes no sense. 36-year-old man is living in Edmonton after he was released from jail on Monday. The victims of his crimes have suffered physical harm or been killed, and he's committed crimes against both strangers and people he knew, police said. All right. Oh, my God. And I'm putting this thing, I'm kind of ribbing on Pierre. It says, anybody from anywhere can do anything in Canada. Look at this guy. He's definitely doing that. The Canadian promise. Deport this guy. Oh my God. What do we need this guy in Canada for? What the hell? All right. So this is the reason I say anybody from anywhere can do anything is because Pierre says that all the time. And basically, I don't think he understands I don't know if he understands, what he's saying, how it perceives on his base, and then also how it perceives outside of Canada. Like, it's a pretty broad statement. But yeah. He keeps saying it, though. He keeps saying it. Hold on a sec here. All right. Next post. Oh. More achievers of the Canadian dream. In Canada, okay. I've seen a lot of these posts. So this isn't the only post. I've seen like a lot of videos. Videos where what's going on here? Videos of them like dumping like truckload. This guy's got a whole U-Haul truck. Holy shit. So let's see what it looks like here. Country roads north of Brampton have become a garbage dump. Like, this guy's got a whole truck. So it looks like this guy did like a reno somewhere. And he says, instead of taking it to the dump, I'll just put it in the ditch. I don't know how they did that things back home, but that's not how we do things here, we have I have no idea what's going on. Okay. We have a thing called a dump for a reason. It's pretty easy to use. All right. So yeah. Now we got vigilantes roaming the country roads in Brampton to spot garbage dumpers. It's ridiculous. All right. Ditch dumpers are tracked down by fed-up locals and forced to take their garbage back. Country roads north of Brampton have become garbage dump, and it's always the same usual suspects when they are caught. So basically the Indians, because Brampton is full of Indians. Yeah, I don't know what it is with littering. They like to litter, it seems. I don't know, maybe that's how they do it there. When they do a job in India, they just throw everything on the side of the road when they're done. Okay. Arkansas has officially made ivermectin an over-the-counter medication. That's cool. They should make it here. If it doesn't hurt you, if you want to take it, you should be able to take it. I remember during COVID, I was saying about ivermectin on Facebook. Oh my God, I got attacked. Like, it was basically called a Nazi. Meanwhile, it's like the most successful drug ever. Anyway. All right, now we got Ford opening his mouth. I don't know where he fits in this puzzle. I know he's sold out to the globalist elites in Ottawa for years now. But what's his game now? Like, why did they let him open his mouth? And look at him. He looks like he's going to get droned here. Maybe he's on the chopping block. Maybe he served his I think he was the reason he was put in was to get the COVID pandemic scam going. Because if they would have had a Liberal or NDP in there, they would have got mad, the people, and put a Conservative in there that wanted to stop it. So they figured might as well put a Conservative in there so there's nobody for them to vote for. And that's, I think, his service purpose has been served. So we'll keep an eye on Ford. But he's starting to look like toast. Look at this guy. Doug Ford said his goal, I think he said this yesterday, said his goal is to inflict as much pain as possible on the American people. It's absolutely insane. Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing to say, like very offensive. Even Trump said he loves the Canadian people. Let's see what he says.
As possible to the American people with
I can't wait to
Not,
read this
but
book
I can assure
on,
you one thing. We're going to make sure that we inflict as much pain as possible to the American people without inflicting pain on the Canadian population. And that, but I can assure you one thing.
You know, he really isn't that smart. He really isn't that smart. He probably didn't mean to say that out loud, but he said it because he's, look at him. He's worse than almost as bad as his nephew. Yeah, that's crazy. Look at him, though. Maybe he knows his time is coming. Next post. All right. So one of Doug Ford's advisors or handlers is Corey Tanecki. The other is Nick Kuvalis. They're both hardcore mercenary types. Looks like they gave out to the highest bidder. Now they control Doug Ford. They're basically, this seems like the go-between the higher ups and Doug Ford. They give Doug Ford's orders and they deliver it to Doug Ford. So Corey Tanecki was on tape talking about Pierre Poilievre and his campaign. Corey Tanecki's worked with Stephen Harper. He's worked in conservative media. He's very well known. I don't really like. He's got a reputation as being kind of a dick. So Poilievre is on course to lose the federal election if he doesn't change course. Take a listen. So this is part of the conservative starting to panic campaign.
But you've got to have a pivot that is taking some, and
so bear in mind this guy really doesn't like Pierre or Pierre's team, so he might be a little biased. Let's see what he says.
I'll make the case tonight, and hopefully this will permeate the Conservative Party war room somewhere. You've got to get on the fucking ballot question that is driving votes, or you are going to lose. You are going to have controlled flight into terrain. And guess what a ballot question isn't, and what voters don't care about? You know, feeling bad that the guy who was the leader isn't there anymore.
Trudeau.
That is in the rearview mirror. That's not out the windshield, it's the rearview mirror. You know, I'm really sorry for you. You didn't want a hug. Like, I don't know. But that's got nothing to do with me and how I'm going to vote.
Right.
You got to get on that issue, and, you know, you might not totally win, but you can't lose by 20 points on it. You can't get blown away on it. You've got to contest the election, and maybe you can take that ballot question, if you're on it, and twist it to some things that are more favorable for you. Like, you know, who do you trust to actually bring in change? Who do you trust to lower costs for Canadians? But you've got to have a pivot that is taking some of the momentum of that issue shift and directing it towards things that are yours. It's not going to happen if you're talking about the World Economic Forum and the Century Initiative or God knows whatever other thing that is, you know, of little or no relevance to voters. So, anyway.
So basically, he's saying Pierre's team doesn't know what they're doing. And he's saying this, and he knows he's going to be recorded. And he's saying it out loud because he wants to sabotage Pierre. It's clear and simple. He's basically saying Pierre's got no plan, and he's just relying on the anti-Trudeau message that he wrote for a year or two. And he's saying if they don't do their plan and get the focus, and they're going to lose. So basically, he doesn't like the team, and he doesn't think they're taking his advice. Apparently, okay. Let's listen to the next recording.
You know, pipelines and resource development and all issues is like if you're looking at, you know, pipelines and resource development and all of those things, like you know, getting rid of the carbon tax, obviously first and foremost. These are policies that Poilievre spent 2 years creating a broad national consensus on, and now the Liberals are taking them up and selling them, and I think the space to do that is built on two things. One, it's a new leader who looks very different than the last leader, so it gives them some ability to do that pivot. And the other is the basic unlikability of Poilievre right now.
So there he's saying
Too
that.
much like Trump. He sounds too much like Trump. He uses the lexicon of Trump. These, this would be the other.
See, this is the part I disagree with. First of all, he says Poilievre's unlikable, so he doesn't like Poilievre. But I'm kind of in agreement with him in that he has this kind of unlikable problem going. Like, I even look at him when he's kind of freewheeling, and it's kind of cringy, to be honest. The other thing is he talks like Trump. I don't agree with that at all. I don't think Poilievre. I don't think he talks like Trump enough, to be honest. I think he talk like Trump more and mean it, but he doesn't mean it. So I think he's wrong on that one. But Corey Tanecki, if he was in the States, he would be a never Trumper. I could see him being a rhino. But he's a mercenary. He takes money, and that's all he cares about. He's a conservative, but he's a conservative for hire, and he's a Harper globalist conservative, and he's the brain of Doug Ford. Doug Ford's a dummy. This guy's the real brain. Okay, so what's the rest of this?
Vein of advice that I give my conservative colleagues is if Trump and tariffs are the major ballot question driving voter changes, you can't look and sound like the orange asshole down south.
Orange asshole.
You've got to look different than that. And so less name calling, less, rhymey slogans.
Right.
All of that. Don't talk about your big, beautiful, bring it home tax cut. Guess what that's?
So he called him an orange asshole. So this is Doug Ford's brain. This is the guy who's actually in charge of Ontario. So that's the kind of that's the kind of approach you can expect between Ontario and the U.S. But another thing he said is the slogan. I agree with him on this. The slogans. Pierre was asked a question the other day. It was about why didn't another candidate get approved for a certain riding in BC. But what struck me was the answer. It was like literally all slogans, just pieced together. And I was like, wow, maybe we'll find it. I can't find it. But I was like, that can get old really quick. The thing about Mark Carney is boring as shit, but he doesn't say slogans. He talks. Pierre literally is a slogan machine. All right. So me and Corey agree on this. He's a slogan machine.
Sounds like don't take a campaign slogan that's Canada first when Trump's was America first. It's just, it looks too much the same. And it's getting in the way of the message, and it's actually, I think, feeding growth to the Liberal Party ballot.
But it's not just the Trump connection. There's just one quick thing.
All right. So basically, he's calling out Pierre's team, saying they suck, and they're going to lose if they don't change or follow his advice, which is crazy. Like, the Ontario Conservatives have nothing to do with the federal election. Granted, Doug Ford sat back last time too, but there was never leaks like this against Aaron O'Toole. And there's other leaks. There's a story in the Star. There's a story in the Star about Doug Ford's internal polling showing Liberals are mopping the floor with Pierre. So that's two different leaks to media against Pierre from the Ontario Conservatives. They're helping the Liberals win. Donald Trump's helping the Liberals win. Ontario Conservatives are helping the Liberals win. It's crazy. Okay, next post. So this is what he said yesterday, Mark Carney. And I was like, everybody was in a tizzy, like, oh my gosh. This is what he said.
Cooperations. We will need to ensure that Canada can succeed in a drastically different world. The old relationship we had with the United States, based on deepening integration of our economies and tight security and military cooperations, is over.
Like, I think I wasn't worried about that, but a lot of people were listening to that and they're like, oh my gosh, they're scared, you know? So to go from that to, hey, everything's cool, we'll talk to you after the election, like, quite the head jerking, gonna give me whiplash. But yeah, Carney's, I can't stand the guy. I think he's gonna hurt this country worse. Like, but he's gonna benefit from this. It looks like. Look, he's looking more statesman-like than Pierre. All right, next point. This is a thing you see on and off on the feed, is about Canada's dairy cartel. And one of the things that Trump hates. So, and I think Canadians should hate it too, because I had pizza place and it's expensive cheese. Sometimes I thought instead of a brick of cheese, I was getting a brick of cocaine because it's so expensive. So we need cheaper cheese and cheaper milk in Canada. It will help the restaurants because we use both lots of milk and lots of cheese. And people love milk and cheese and ingredients, and it'll help households. But we pay a lot of money for milk and cheese. All right. So I'm sure that'll come up in the upcoming negotiations. Maybe we'll actually get some cheaper milk, because I guess they dump like thousands of liters a month of milk because they have a quota, and if they go over the quota, they have to dump the milk. Meanwhile, we're paying like $7 for 4 liters of milk. It's ridiculous. All right, next post. Well, I saw this video here about Israel. This is the thing. This video is good because it's for all those people that are complaining about immigration, especially Muslim immigration, and then think, who's sending them here? Like, why are they coming here? Because it's not like India. India, they want to leave because the country is a horrible country. You know, they never want to go back. But these guys, most of these guys left because they're getting bombed. They probably go back if there wasn't like political instability and bombing. And let's see what he says.
Starved to death. The best way is to transfer them to Europe. Europe already accepted, past the 10 years, accepted more than 100 million refugees. I don't think that another 1.5 million refugees would make any difference for the Europeans. And as the Bible says, this place is for us, it's promised for us, so they can starve to death to pay on the things that they've done to us on the 7th of October.
Would you live in Gaza once all is said and done?
Totally. If my wife would agree for that, totally.
All right, so that's when you wonder why we're getting so many refugees from the Middle East, that's a good reminder why. Next post. We'll go call back here. The Freedom Convoy and their supporters were always patriots. They were fighting for Canadian jobs, livelihoods, and freedom from government overreach. None of them had to be told it was okay to be patriotic Canadians by the media or politicians. They just were. Yes, it was a totally organic movement. I believe that. And compared to that, the Team Canada elbows up crap today is fake as hell. Good times. Totally organic. And that's why they hated it. Because they couldn't control something that organic. All right, next. This part weird. Lisa McLeod's husband rang off on Ford, saying that I don't know what was going on. They really, something they obviously didn't get along, and we'll have to keep an eye on that. This is the one I was talking about. Internal Doug Ford polling obtained by the Toronto Star paints a grim picture for Pierre Poilievre in Ontario. 48% for Mark Carney, 33% for Poilievre, and 11% for Jagmeet Singh. So yeah, that's bad. That's bad. You can't win Ontario. You can't win the election without Ontario, and you need to get a majority. You need to win Ontario big, and they're losing Ontario big. And this obviously Ford is not doesn't have a problem with it. Like they're all sitting on their hands, the Tories in Ontario, because they're liberals. I guess CPC should take that as a compliment that these liberals don't want to support them, but I guess that's all you can do. So again, why was this internal poll released at Toronto Star? It's obvious why. They want to sink Pierre. All right, next. So Ford putting dictator Carney above pandering Pierre should tell you they are all in it together. That's basically what it is. Like Ford has governed hand in hand with Trudeau for years. And now he's governing hand in hand with Carney. And I have no idea why Ontario, I don't know. Like Ontario is basically a uniparty state. Like, doesn't matter. You vote for Conservative, it doesn't matter. You're voting for a Liberal. You're voting for NDP. It's all the same. I don't even know why they have elections. All right. And this is another reason Pierre's sputtering. The guy is so boring and so tone deaf. And like people want bold ideas. All right. People need like paradigm shifts here. Like things aren't working and it's not going to be fixed by some bullshit. And this is he puts, he's going to increase your tax-free saving account limit. So you can add $5,000 more a year to your tax-free saving on top of like $7,000 already allowed. It's like, I can't even, like most people don't have 10 grand to sock away for RSPs. Unfortunately, they wish they should, but they don't. So how, it's so tone deaf. It's like, ooh. And this is all it's going to help is rich people and rich people who have money, which is good, I guess, but it's not going to help people. So he's very tone deaf here. Like so much going on. And this is the best he can come up with. Like, yeah, some people are going to like it, but it's not going to speak to most people. So he's wasting traction every day on stupid things like this. So this is the thing that came out of Trump first when after the phone call ended, kind of rocked the internet, to be honest, in Canada at least. So just finished speaking with Prime Minister Mark Carney of Canada. It was an extremely productive call. We agree on many things and we'll be meeting immediately after Canada's upcoming election, which is kind of a funny thing to say. To work on elements of politics, business, and all other factors that will end up being great for both the United States and America and Canada. Thank you for attention to this matter. So yeah, that's crazy. Like literally totally 100% difference from the way he's been talking about us for the last 2 months, it seems. What the hell happened? Maybe they got along. Who knows? The bottom, for sure, Trump hated Trudeau's guts. And he probably hated a few of Trudeau's advisors. And I doubt the personal thing could get that far, but it doesn't help. Maybe him and Carney are, I don't know. There's something bigger going on. Next post here. So please listen to this 4-minute video of Carney talking about reimagine our economy. This is who he is. He fancies himself an economic visionary in the same sense as Klaus Schwab does. So we're getting a WEF prime minister. But this is the sad truth about Canada. Is people in Canada want a WEF prime minister. They want to be told what to do, how to do it, where to live, what to eat. They want it. As long as they have their little goodies, they don't care. Unfortunately. Not everybody, but a lot of them. Believe me. I don't want to watch this video, but you get the idea. All right. I saw this today. I hate it when politicians, especially local politicians who live in the community, they say, oh, we need to bring in immigrants because we're not making the population grow. Well, it's like, first of all, this is what comes to mind is people aren't having kids because they can barely survive on their own. That's quite that simple. And that's the thing Pierre doesn't talk about. He had a lot of opportunity to connect with people. But he doesn't. I remember COVID, that son of a bitch, he sat by and did nothing. Pierre. So, too bad, buddy. All right. So, yeah. Huge rhetorical shift by Trump. Don't know why. Maybe they got along. I don't know this full story. We'll see how long it lasts. Really confusing, though. The way they talked yesterday and the way they talk today. This is a good post here. CPC voters. The PPC is a joke party. You have no support. You have no chance of winning. You're polling at 2%. Also, PPC is vote splitting and will cost us the election. We need Max to step aside and you need to vote CPC or we won't win. So if we're just at 2%, why all the panic? Yeah, it's weird, eh? Either PPC is irrelevant or PPC is splitting the vote. You can't have both. They make fun of PPC, but then they say, stop, PPC, you're splitting the vote. A CPC is garbage party anyway. I think the best thing to do is just get rid of it and start over. Especially if the Liberals win. Definitely if the Liberals, it's gone. Get rid of it and start fresh. Make a killer Canadian party. One that you could be proud of, but it probably won't happen. Oh, James Lindsay. I like to make fun of him. All right, next post. This is another thing haunting Pierre. More than anything about Carney's business dealings, this is haunts Pierre. He voted for this. He voted for this law that prevents him and his Conservative Party voted along with everybody else to make it illegal for parents to counsel their children against this kind of stuff. I remember they were dancing in the street. They were dancing in the aisle of the Parliament. So these are the things that kind of haunt him now that the election is focus. Okay. We'll read this response we read Trump's response to a phone call. Today, Prime Minister Mark Carney spoke with President of the U.S., Donald Trump. The Prime Minister and President had a very constructive conversation about the relationship between our two countries. The leaders agreed to begin comprehensive negotiations about a new economic and security relationship immediately following the election. Which is kind of weird. They both said that because it's like you're assuming Carney's going to win the election. Like, it's weird. It's like Pierre's just this little nobody that nobody's paying attention. It's so weird. In the interim, leaders agreed that conversations between the Minister of Intergovernmental Affairs and President of King's Privy Council, Dominic LeBlanc, and the U.S. Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, will intensify to address immediate concerns. Prime Minister told the President that he would be working hard for the next month to earn the right to represent Canada in those discussions, so he's got to win the election. And then we will implement retaliatory tariffs to protect Canadian workers and our economy following announcements of trade actions on April 2nd. So, yeah, April 2nd, the States is going to do it on everybody, so that's just a normal. Yeah, it's very interesting. Carney was a CEO of some huge company in Canada, too, so maybe they have like a business bond or something. Maybe they get along because of that. I don't know. Like, Trudeau's a dummy. You get him in a room with somebody like Trump. I know these people, they don't give you the time of day. The only reason Trudeau's in the room is because his name is Trudeau. But Carney, a guy like Carney, I can see them clicking because they both are in the big money business. It doesn't explain everything, but it doesn't hurt. So this is what I said about Conservatives are panicking big time. We're less than a week into the campaign. They're panicking. I don't know if that's probably not a good sign. Like, on one side, you have time to recover. On the other, it's not a good sign because if you're already panicking, it's not. It usually doesn't end up well. So, wheels are off. Senior Conservatives think Poilievre campaign needs a reset. Our Conservative source. They're not willing to do things they need to do to win. And they're still shitting on the Ontario PCs, and it's like, I'm sorry, these people won a majority a month ago. They might have something to tell you. So this is global news. It sounds like someone's leaking to them, too, from the Ontario Conservatives. To full sabotage on Pierre in Ontario here. It's crazy. There's 3 different leaks in the span of a day against Pierre from Ontario Conservatives. The one about Corey Tanecki, the internal polling, and now this. That's weird. And here's this local story. So I live in Sarnia, Ontario. We live right on the border. There's our bridge, the Blue Water Bridge. Across the river is Port Huron, Michigan. Our commie mayor, who's been here 30 years, wants to lower the American flags in like arenas here and everything. He's called this economic terrorism, the tariffs. So one of our councillors, Bill Dennis, contacted a Port Huron mayor for a friendly flag wave. He asked me if I would like to join him in a show of togetherness between Sarnia and City of Port Huron. Just to do a simple flag wave. I didn't want it to be political or anything, as long as it's just a flag wave. So they're going to go on each side of the river and wave flags at each other, which is kind of nice. Good positive energy. The friendly wave takes place ahead of Sarnia City Council's meeting on Monday, March 31st. Mayor Mike Bradley is expected to present a motion to council to remove all American flags from municipal buildings in response to the ongoing trade war. Like, seriously? Is that really going to do anything, Mike Bradley, you dummy? All it's going to do is piss people, dummies off. That's all it's going to do. And cause problems. Fucking dummy. Okay, maybe I'll go take pictures of those. So that's what's going on in my community. So I bet you anything now that Trump and Carney are talking, that he'll brag that he replaced Canada's prime minister and put in another one. He was the kingmaker. He will too. And this is the last post I saw it. Ontario Sunshine List. This is Doug Ford again. You know he's a liberal. Ontario Sunshine List of 100,000 earners grows to record 377,000 people. Oh my gosh. That's a lot of bureaucrats making big money. We're screwed. We are screwed on Ontario. And they just gave them another majority. That's why it's very disheartening. Very disheartening. And that's it. That was my day. My head's still spinning, but, you know, I'm sure all will be revealed in good time. I like watching it. I don't worry about it either way. I don't fall for the psyop. I don't fall for the psyop. So, the next thing we'll see, we're here for the next 2 nights, next Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So, the next thing we'll see is how this Mark Carney Trump thing progresses. Like, especially Trump's tone. Like, how he's just his tone, and if he so here's the video that we'll talk.
Implementing retaliatory tariffs.
So listen to the way he talks about Canada.
That you would be responding with large-scale tariffs. Will you be following through with that promise?
Well, absolutely, but we had a very good conversation. Mark called me today at 10 o'clock.
Mark.
We put out a statement. We had a very, very good talk. He's going through an election now, and we'll see what happens, but we have Liberation Day, as you know, on
What the
April
hell's Liberation
2nd,
Day?
Because, and I'm not referring to Canada, but many countries have taken advantage of us.
He's talking about
the likes of
tariffs
which
on
nobody even thought was
April
possible
2nd.
for many, many decades, and you know that has to stop.
You ever been kicked
So
off a
yeah,
road?
he didn't say anything really, nowhere near the way he was talking about us before. Like, just very normal talking. So how will that progress, that relationship, and can Pierre right the ship on his campaign? And that's it. And see if Doug Ford's team keeps leaking out shit on Pierre. It seems like they want to. All right, until then, we'll talk to you later. Thank you.